Hello students, I hope you all are fine and healthy. We are reading chapter number 18, Wastewater Story. In our previous video, we have read what is wastewater, what is sewage and the composition of sewage, sewerage system and the wastewater treatment plant. So these are the topics that we read in the previous video. Today we will learn about some good housekeeping practices by which we can reduce the waste that goes into the drain. The second topic that we will learn is sanitation and diseases. Then we will learn about the alternative arrangements for the sewage disposal. And our last topic of the chapter will be sanitation at public places. So let's start our today's class with the first topic, that is some good housekeeping practices which can help us in reducing the waste that enters the drain. We can minimize the waste that goes into the drain from our house by using some precautions. Some of the good housekeeping practices that helps us in reducing the waste that enters the drain from our houses are the solid waste such as the food remains, the sanitary napkins, polythenes, used cotton, soft toys, etc. They should not be thrown down the drain. This is because if these wastes are thrown in the pipe drains carrying wastewater, then they block the drain and does not allow the water to flow freely in the sewer. By blocking the drains, these waste also does not allow the oxygen to flow freely in the drain, which is used by the microorganisms which carry out the decomposition of the waste. Now this disturbs the natural process of purification of water. The solid food remains, sanitary towels, polythenes, napkins, soft toys, etc. They should be thrown in the dustbin. We should never throw them in the drains. The waste cooking oils, butter and ghee, they should not be thrown in the kitchen sink to go in the drain. This is because the cooking oils and the fats, they may get hardened and they may block the drain pipes. On the other hand, if the drainage pipes are open, so these fats and oils, they will block the spores that are in the soil and will reduce the effectiveness of the soil in cleaning the water. So the waste oils and fats, they should be always thrown in the dustbin. We should never throw them in the kitchen sinks so that they enter the drain. The chemicals like the paints, solvents, motor oils, medicines and insecticides, etc. They should never be thrown in the drain because they may kill the microorganisms which help in purifying the wastewater naturally. By minimizing the throwing of undesirable waste into the drainage systems of our houses, we can reduce the load of the wastewater treatment plants. So these are some of the ways or some good housekeeping practices which can help us in reducing the waste.
Now our next topic is sanitation and diseases. So do you know what does sanitation means? Sanitation means to create hygienic environment or clean environment around us, or it can be also defined as the process of keeping the places clean and healthy. Now, do you know why the sanitation is necessary? Sanitation is necessary or essential for preventing us from diseases and keeping good health. So, sanitation is very much necessary to prevent ourselves and others from the diseases and for their good health. Now, poor sanitation and contaminated drinking water is the cause of a large number of diseases in our country. So, in our country, a large number of diseases are caused due to poor sanitation and polluted drinking water, or we can say the unclean clean water. Now, a vast number of people in our country still do not have the sewerage facilities for the safe disposal of human excreta, or we can say they don't have the sewerage facility for the safe disposal of human waste. Now, due to this, a very large number of our people defecate in the open, in fields, near railway tracks or dry river beds, and many times directly in the water bodies like the ponds, lakes, rivers, etc. So they don't have the sewerage system. That's why sometimes the people go for the excretion in the open areas. Now the untreated human excreta is a health hazard because it can cause a large number of waterborne diseases. Waterborne diseases means those diseases which spreads from the water. Now the untreated human excreta also causes soil pollution and water pollution. Now since the human excreta is carried along by the rainwater, so it pollutes both the surface water, that is in the lakes and rivers, as well as the groundwater, and makes it contaminated. Okay, so the human excreta pollutes the groundwater also and the surface water also. Now the river water and the groundwater, they are the sources of drinking water for many people. Like in the chapter 16, we read that the groundwater is drawn out through the wells, tube wells, and the hand pumps. Now the drinking of water that is contaminated or that is polluted with human untreated excreta, it becomes the most common way for the spreading of waterborne diseases. Okay, so the drinking of water that is having the untreated human excreta, it is the most common cause of waterborne diseases. Now some of the waterborne diseases that spreads in this way are cholera, typhoid, polio, meningitis, hepatitis, and dysentery. Now, to prevent waterborne diseases, the people should not excrete or defecate in the open spaces or the open areas near the water bodies. Now, people should also realize their responsibility in maintaining the water sources in a healthy state by preventing their pollution or by preventing them from getting contaminated. Now, clean water is a basic need of human beings. We need clean water. So, the clean water that is fit for drinking, it is not available to all the people. This we have already learned in the chapter 16 also, that most of the people don't get the clean water for the drinking purpose. Now it has been estimated that more than 1 billion people in the world, they do not get the safe drinking water. Now the drinking of polluted or the contaminated water by the people, it is the cause for a large number of water related diseases and even the deaths in the whole world. Now, by realizing this situation that is created by the extreme shortage of clean and safe drinking water in many parts of the world, the General Assembly of the United Nations on the World Water Day on the 22nd March 2005 has declared the period 2005 to 2015 as the International Decade for Action on Water for Life. So the period between the year 2005 to 2015, it was declared as the International Decade for Action on the Water for Life. Now, all efforts were made during this decade to reduce by half the number of people who do not have access to safe drinking water. Now, our next topic is the alternative arrangements for the safe sewage disposal. Okay, what can be the other arrangements for the sewage disposal? Now, in order to improve sanitation and prevent waterborne diseases, low-cost on-site sewage disposal systems are being encouraged for those people who do not have sewage facilities. Now, the on-site sewage disposal system means those systems which treat the human waste or the sewage close to the place where it is generated, and the sewage is not to be carried anywhere. Like for the treatment of sewage in the sewage treatment plant or the wastewater treatment plant, the sewage has to be carried in a sewer pipes. But in the on-site sewage disposal system, the sewage has not to be carried anywhere. Now there are many types of on-site sewage disposal systems for human waste. Like the first is septic tanks. The second is composting pits. The third is chemical toilets. Now, these are the arrangements for the hygienic disposal of human waste or the human excreta. Now, the septic tanks and the composting pits, they are called on-site sewage disposal system because they treat the sewage at the place where it is generated. Now the septic tanks and the composting pits, they provide us toilets. So let's learn about these sewage disposal systems in detail. So first of all, we will learn about the septic tanks, or we can say the septic tank toilets. Now a septic tank usually consists of a big covered underground tank that is made up of concrete, and it is having an inlet pipe at one end and outlet pipe at the other end. Like in the diagram also, the inlet pipe is shown and the outlet pipe is also shown. Now the solid part of excreta, it keeps on collecting at the bottom of the septic tank in the form of a sludge. Now whereas the watery waste remains above it because the sludge is heavy, so it gets settled down. Now the anaerobic bacteria breaks down most of the solid organic matter that is present in the human waste, due to which the volume, or we can say the amount of the solid waste, is reduced too much. Now the digested solid waste keeps on depositing or getting collected at the bottom of septic tank. Now the watery waste is also cleaned by the anaerobic bacteria. Now the excess water that is in the septic tanks, it comes out through the outlet pipe and gets absorbed in the soil. Now the septic tanks or the septic tank toilets, they are suitable for those places where there is no sewerage system, like the places which don't have the sewerage system. These septic tank toilets are suitable, they can be used there. Now these tanks are suitable for providing toilet facilities to single houses or to a group of 4 or 5 houses where sewer lines do not exist for carrying away human waste. A septic tank works for a long time. After that, it needs to be cleaned. Now, in some villages, the biogas or the gobar gas is produced from the cow dung. Now, the human waste or the human excreta, it can also be used in a biogas plant along with the cow dung. Now, it can also be used for making the biogas along with the cow dung. So in many villages, the human excreta or the human waste from the toilet seats in the homes, it flows directly into the biogas plant. Now the biogas that is produced, it is used as a fuel. So the use of human excreta in biogas plants, it is the one way of safe disposal of human waste where the sewers are not available. Now the second method is the composting pits or the composting toilets. Now the composting pits are used to provide the composting toilets. Now a composting toilet is a self-contained human waste disposal unit which is not connected to a sewer line or a septic tank. So basically, composting toilet is neither connected to the sewer line nor to the septic tank. Now a composting toilet breaks down and dehydrates the human waste to a compost or manure. Now this way compost or the manure can be added to the soil to make it fertile. Now here dehydrates means to remove the water. So basically in the composting pits, the human waste is broken down and the water is removed from that waste. Now a composting toilet consists of a toilet seat which is fixed on a composting chamber. Okay. Now this composting chamber is connected to a drying chamber. Okay. Now the composting chamber or the composting part of the pit, it breaks down the human waste with the help of aerobic microorganisms or with the help of aerobic bacteria and converts it into a compost or the manure. Now the drying chamber, it allows the moisture to come out from the compost and makes it solid. So the drying chamber helps in drying, making the compost dry. Now this solid compost is removed time after time and it is used as the manure. Now the composting toilets are used where the water supply is limited or it is not available at all. So it is used at the places where there is very less water supply or there is no water supply. Now, an advantage of these toilet is that they supply us compost or the manure. So they help in conserving the useful plant nutrients. Okay. So a composting pit toilets treats the sewage close to the place where it is generated. So it is also a So it is also a on-site sewage disposal system. Now the next type of disposal system is chemical toilets. Now a chemical toilets uses a chemically treated reservoir which is located or which is just below the toilet seat. So in the chemical toilet, the reservoir or we can say the tank that is present, it is having some chemicals in it. Now the chemicals reduce the foul smell or the foul odor that comes from the human waste, and it carries out the partial disinfection of the human waste. Now the chemical toilets have a limited storage capacity for the human waste. So their tanks need to be emptied into a sewer line after some time. Now all the portable toilets, they are the chemical toilets. They can be easily shifted from one place to the another place. Now the chemical toilets are used at construction sites and at large outdoor gatherings like the music festivals, marriages, fairs, etc. The portable chemical toilets are very costly. They are not a low cost toilet. Now the next type is the vermi processing toilets. Now in the vermi processing toilets, the human waste is treated by earthworms in a pit. Now the earthworms slowly eats the all organic matter that is present in the human waste, and they decompose it and pass out from their body in the form of worm casting, that is also known as the vermi cakes. Now the worm castings or the vermi cakes, they are a kind of high quality manure which can be used or which can be added to the soil for growing the plants. Now the vermi processing toilets is a low water use toilet. It means it uses very less water. Now the design of vermi processing toilet has been already tested successfully in India. Now the next is the toilets in the aeroplanes. Now the aeroplanes have a special type of toilets that are called the vacuum toilets. Now the human excreta or the human waste in an aeroplane, it is disposed by the vacuum toilet. Now when we flush the toilet in an aeroplane, then a valve opens in the pipeline which is having vacuum in it. Okay, so when we press the button of the toilet or the flush of the toilet, so a valve get opens which has vacuum in it. Now the vacuum in the pipeline, it sucks the human waste from the toilet seat with a great force and makes a loud noise because it is sucking the human waste from a great force. That's why a noise is made, and it carries the human waste into a tank which is present in the aeroplane. Now when the aeroplane lands at an airport, then the tank that contains the human waste, it is emptied into a sewer line that is present in the ground. Okay, so the possible it is possible to have safe disposal of human waste through the on-site sewage disposal systems such as septic tanks, composting pits, and the vermi processing toilets. So those places where the underground sewage system is not available, the low-cost on-site sewage disposal methods can be used for the safe disposal of human waste and prevent the contamination or the pollution of surface water and the groundwater. Now this will save the people from many waterborne diseases. Now the next is sanitation at public places. Now if we go to a railway station, a bus depot, an airport, a hospital, so we find that all these places are having a large number of people. Now in fact thousands of people visits these public places daily. So a large amount of waste is generated at all these places. Now similarly in our country, fairs and exhibitions are organized regularly. Now a large number of people visit the fairs and exhibitions and they generate a lot of waste. Now the poor sanitation in the public places, it can result in the spread of diseases. So the waste materials that are produced at public places, it must be disposed properly. If all the waste that is produced at public places are not disposed properly, so it can even lead to a epidemic. So an epidemic could spread due to it. Epidemic, do you remember what it is? Epidemic means when a disease gets spread to thousands of people in a very short time. That is known as epidemic. Now it is the responsibility of the municipality of the area to maintain the sanitation, or we can say to keep the public places clean. But we can also contribute in keeping the places clean and healthy. Now there are some ways in which we can contribute to maintain the sanitation at public places. So first is we should never throw the rubbish or scatter the rubbish such as paper, food waste, packets, empty plastic bottles, etc. in the public places. Now we should throw the garbage in the dustbin that is provided. If suppose the dustbin is not available, then we should carry the garbage to our home and then throw it in the dustbin. We should not spit in the public places. Now, after eating the fruits, we should not throw the fruit peels on the roadside or any other public place. Now we should never urinate on the roadside. So these are the ways which we can follow and we can contribute to keep a place sanitized. Now the generation of waste is an essential part of human activities. Now we can't stop from generating the waste because it is essential to keep us clean and healthy. But we can limit the type of waste and the quality of waste that is produced. Even we can also help in the proper disposal of waste. So that's it, students. Now our chapter is over. We will start revising the chapter in our next videos. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Take care.